Today on Homeworthy, we're bringing you inside an exquisite property that is tucked within the shores of Lake Tahoe. Inside, you'll find custom finishes and fine materials selected by interior designer Gary Gibson that beautifully reflects the area's rich history and scenic landscape. Enjoy this insider look from Homeworthy and Métier Maison, where all are welcome to come relax and enjoy life on Tahoe time. You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, Homeworthy. Kyle Louder here with Tahoe Luxury Properties and Métier Maison. Welcome to Shangri-La here in Lake Tahoe on the West Shore, just south of Tahoe City. This is a 12,660 square foot utopian hideaway with 1.7 meticulously landscaped acres and 130 feet of private shoreline. So come on in, check it out. Kyle Louder here with Tahoe Luxury Properties and Métier Maison. We are here at Shangri-La. This is truly one of the most stunning estates you're ever going to see. We are on the west shore of Lake Tahoe, just south of Tahoe City, and this truly is a legacy lakeshore estate. It's actually modeled after some of the historic other lakeshore estates, in particular the Pope Mansion, which is down in Camp Richardson, and that was built back in the 1880s, and the original builders of this house were a pretty prominent couple. It was Jeffrey Piccard and his wife Lynn Piccard, and Jeffrey was actually an Olympian. The 1964 Tokyo Summer Olympic Games, he was on the crew team. He was a rower, and he won the bronze medal. He was a Harvard student, went on to Harvard Business School, and then went on to become a pretty prominent banker, as you can see the fruits of his labor. But Lynn and Jeffrey built this back in 1993, and they had a Hong Kong architect, like I said, that wanted to model this home after the historic legacy estates of the area. But let's start to head inside, because there's some fascinating stories that we have to tell. But as we head in, I want to talk to you about the specs here. We got 12,660 square feet. We have 9 bedrooms, 8 full bathrooms, and 2 half baths. You have 130 feet of private shoreline. We'll get to that in just a minute. And 1.7 meticulously landscaped acres. But come on in, and let's tell some stories. This is the main entryway, the foyer, if we will. And the first thing that you're going to notice, two of my favorite things in this entire house right off the bat, are these historic oars up on the wall and this beautiful Cuban mahogany paneling. Now, 2 stories behind this. Let's start with the oars. There's a guy by the name of George Pocock. He just became relevant again because the George Clooney movie, Boys in the Boat, George Pocock is one of the main characters in that. Now, George was a very prominent boat and oar designer. Now, he designed back in the 1936 Olympic Games, when the men's American crew team won the gold medal, George Pocock was the designer of the boat and the oars. These are his oars. Now, the current owners, this is actually, I think, pretty funny. The current owners, when they bought this house back in 2007, these oars were just sitting in the garage. They noticed the oars and they said they had no idea that they were from George Pocock, but they said, these are pretty, these would look really good kind of in the entranceway. So they mounted them here. Years later, they have an Aquarama Riva Italian wooden boat. We're going to see a model of that upstairs in just a few minutes. It's actually stunning. But they had that boat restored by a guy by the name of Dave Lobb. Now, Dave Lobb, he restored the boat, and then he came over here one day, and he looked up, and he sees these oars, and he says, these are George Pocock oars. Of course, the current owners are like, who is that? Dave Lobb, get this, small world. Dave Lobb was an apprentice in Washington, where he grew up. He was George Pocock's apprentice. And he noticed right away the design of the oars, and he's like, do you have any idea, what these are? So basically oars that could be in a museum somewhere. The current owners learned about them, and historical items there. Pretty cool. The next piece that I really want to talk about here is this beautiful Cuban mahogany paneling. Now, this actually came from a house in Beacon Hill in Boston, Massachusetts. It was built back in the 1800s. I mean, the detail on this mahogany is absolutely stunning. Now, we know that when the Picards built this house, they were friends with the couple who owned the house in Beacon Hill in Boston, Massachusetts. And we know this because Lynn Picard left us a little note here in a secret panel. I gotta be careful, this is really old. I don't want to read the entire thing, but this note, written by Lynn Picard, actually talks about the origin and the inception of this beautiful Cuban mahogany paneling. And ultimately, the Picards, friends with the couple that owned the home in Boston, Massachusetts, in Beacon Hill. This was shipped over from Massachusetts here to Lake Tahoe and beautifully installed here in Lake Tahoe. Now, the current owners, this is actually hilarious, they love this paneling so much they wanted to put it in other areas of the house. But here's the deal. This is Cuban mahogany, so it's prohibited to be sold, much less shipped over here to the United States. So they're like, oh, that's a bummer. But the man that did the remodel, their contractor, their builder, Pat Setter, miraculously was able to find some Cuban mahogany from a tree that was blown down in Puerto Rico in a hurricane. That mahogany ended up in a basement in New Jersey. Pat Setter, the contractor for this house, found it, shipped it over here to Lake Tahoe, and put it in the dining room. And something to keep in mind as we tour through this house, all the decor, everything on the walls, it's all meticulously planned to invoke the feeling and the tradition of Lake Tahoe. But before we tour the rest of the house, let's head outside. All right, here we are outside. This truly is the showstopper part of this entire 1.7 acre estate. So the first thing you're going to notice is this sprawling, flat, grassy lawn, which could actually convert into a full-size volleyball court, or put a couple lounge chairs out there. Same thing. Come over here to the 16-person custom in-ground spa with jets. You can fit your entire family and friends in this thing. But the kicker here, 130 feet of private shoreline, the deep water pier with a boat lift and 2 buoys. So instant, easy access to Lake Tahoe. This tree, aptly named Jeffrey, massive, massive pine tree. But over here, past the outdoor shea lounges here, to the outdoor fireplace. Now, the one thing you're going to see on this property is all the pops of color, and it's because this estate has over 100 species of Japanese maple. In fact, the tree behind the spa was actually flown over with a shaman from Japan and blessed before its installation. But before we head back inside, I'd love to take you out to the pier, get a little up close and personal view, and a little bit about Lake Tahoe. So follow me. All right, here we are out on the piers. You can see it is an absolutely beautiful summer day. Got people out on the lake. So just a quick few fun facts about Lake Tahoe. It is the 3rd deepest lake in the U.S. It is 72 miles of shoreline. It is 22 miles long, 12 miles wide, and tourist hotspot, not just in the summertime, but in the wintertime. To the south, you have the Heavenly Ski Resort, and over here you have Palisades and North Star, just to name a few. Paddleboarders. The other thing is the Hollywood connection that we have out here. Over my left shoulder, the old Cal Neva Resort, made famous by Frank Sinatra, Marilyn Monroe, the Rat Pack. So, as you can see, a worldwide destination, people all over the world, including Hollywood. Back in the house and into the dining room, and I just have to say, the decor of this house, I just love it because it's earth tones, it's nature, lots of woods, lots of stones. As you can see, this Cuban mahogany again, matching the Cuban mahogany in the foyer there. Beautiful dining room table. And what I love, again, picture window here. The entire backside of this house all have these massive picture windows looking out to the main attraction, the lake. The other thing that I love is the invocation of nature yet again. These are all native plants and flowers pressed, and this dates back to the late 19th century, 1897, 1899. So again, bringing the outdoors in. Now, this chandelier is one of my favorites. So again, Gary Gibson was the interior designer here. He designed this chandelier and it was fabricated by Paul Ferrantes in Los Angeles. Now, this is a smaller version of the gigantic version that you're gonna see in the indoor pool room, which we'll get to in just a minute. But I think this is a perfect time to head on into the kitchen. But first, a surprise on the way there, a little bar and a Butlers Pantry. So out of the dining room into this little pass-through area, but it's not just a pass-through area. Look at this piece. Now this is like the woodwork. I'm stuttering because of the metal, the woodwork, this beautiful bar situation. You have a butler pantry on the other side, which has a really cool pass-through window, which we're gonna see when we head into the kitchen. But this is just another example of the beautiful decor that this house has to offer. And you see this all throughout. So let's head into the kitchen. On to one of my favorite rooms in the house, of course, the kitchen. Now, this is a traditional French country kitchen. It has everything that you look for with that. Beam ceilings, warm fireplace for those cold Tahoe nights, the paneling and all the cabinetry, this gigantic island that all your friends and family can gather around and make memories. But it's not all traditional. You do have the 6-burner Wolf stove, the Sub-Zero refrigerator. But I just want to bring your attention to this really cool black and white checked floors, very indicative of that French country style. But this is really cool. The kicker, to add a little bit more privacy, some more warmth, these curtains can close off this little intimate breakfast nook over here from the rest of the kitchen and out that beautiful picture window to, of course, the main attraction, Lake Tahoe. But this house is really designed for that warmth, and it gives you the opportunity to make memories that will last generations to come. So again, this kitchen provides for all of that. On to the next room. Follow me. Into the living room now, and this room really epitomizes what I love about luxury real estate, what I love about interior design. It's like art that you can walk into and through. Gary Gibson, the interior designer of this home, really, he was intentional about that, about creating feelings of warmth, of love and family. I mean, you have these dark wood beams on the ceilings or the custom stonework on the fireplace. It's really about bringing nature and the outside in. And I love this painting on the wall over here. It's by a very famous open air California artist, Jesse Powell. And let's head over to the office because he brings that warmth and that love and the attention to detail even to a small space like this. Now, I do want to say, this space can be used for anything, like a bonus room or a playroom for the kids. But right now, set up as an office, I want to bring your attention to this table. Now, this is a beautiful table, actually from Harvard University. And when you're sitting at this thing, which I love, if you're in this chair right here, you see clear through the hallway, all the way through the living room, out the gigantic picture window to Lake Tahoe, which is the money view. Or this side, you have the contrast. You have the green grass and the pops of color and the garden view on this side. And again, this room, home, in every room that you're in, it brings the outside in. So follow me upstairs and we'll head to the primary suite. All right, before we hit the primary suite, I want to draw your attention to this space right here because it's what, a loft, a landing, what some might feel is a pass-through space. I don't think it's that at all. I mean, first of all, look at this expansive, beautiful bookshelf, bookcase, wall of books, all the artwork on the walls. It just really invokes that spirit of Lake Tahoe. Of course, the pool table, you can spend a lot of time around this thing, but I want to draw your attention to this right here. This is a Riva Aquarama model, an Italian wooden boat. This is an exact replica that the current homeowners own. It's an award-winning boat, by the way. So again, this room for me, quintessential Lake Tahoe. So on to the primary suite. Okay, here in the primary suite, can you imagine waking up to this view of Lake Tahoe? Again, the theme here, a gigantic picture window on the west-facing side of this house and meticulously designed by Gary Gibson yet again. Now, this is a Paul Ferrante's custom designed, custom fabricated chandelier. And this space that I'm sitting in here, to go with the theme of warmth and relaxation in this home, this sitting area was actually created by the current homeowners. The roof actually sloped down, cutting off this entire area, but they wanted a nice space so they can sit and enjoy this view, read a magazine, read a book. But into the primary bath, we have your cozy, soothing soaking tub over here. Of course, 2 sinks, but what I love, this gigantic walk-in shower that doubles as a steam shower. And if you ever had a long day on the slopes, there is nothing like a long, relaxing steam shower after a long day skiing or snowboarding. So next, I have a surprise for you. So stay tuned, follow me. All right, before we head to our surprise room, I just wanted to draw your attention to this because it's really cool. So Lake Tahoe is home to one of the premier wooden boat shows in the entire world, the Concord De Elegance. And in this hallway, stairway, you are surrounded by all of the collectible posters from, gosh, I don't know how far back they go, but they got quite a bit of them. And they're gorgeous, and they're all signed by the artist. Let's keep going. Almost there, almost there. Follow me. All right, as promised, the surprise room, the indoor pool, 22-meter lap pool. Just look at the ceiling work, the beam work, the stone tiles. It's got that rough edge texture, the artwork on the walls. Now, this is a fascinating story. So the artist is a woman by the name of Elizabeth Carmel. She's actually a prominent artist in the area. She has a gallery in Truckee. Well, the current homeowners fell in love with this artwork, so they licensed it from her. And Gary Gibson had the photographs separated into panels and then printed on metal so it lasts longer in the heat, the sunlight, and the humidity. But the monster in this room is this gigantic chandelier, again, designed by Gary Gibson and fabricated by Paul Ferrantes in Los Angeles, then shipped up here to Lake Tahoe. Now, fun fact, important fact about this pool, in keeping with the spirit of healthy living, there are no chemicals keeping the filtration of this pool. It's actually filtered by UV filtration and ozone, so no chemicals, no chlorine. Let's head outside. Here we are in the front of the property, and what I really love are all of these little meandering garden pathways. Like I said, this entire 1.7 acres is meticulously landscaped, but you meander your way to this clearing and you see a regulation-sized bocce ball court. Now, what's really cool about this is not sand. This is actually crushed oyster shells, just like the real deal, just to add to the, the family Olympics. Next to it, horseshoes as well. So thank you for taking this tour with me today of Shangri-La here in Lake Tahoe. I hope you found this utopian hideaway just as magnificent and stunning as I do. It's a hot summer day, so I'm gonna head right out there to the lake. Take care.
If you're interested in learning more about this property, email realestate@homeworthy.com.